When a pope dies, centuries-old rituals unfold with solemn precision. From the smashing of the Ring of the Fisherman to the sealing of the Sistine Chapel, the death of a pontiff is both an end and a proclamation. The Church continues. But the death of Pope Francis in April 2025 was unlike any other in modern history. It happened during the most sacred season of the Church. It stirred unexpected emotions. It raised questions not just about succession, but about symbolism, simplicity, and whether this papal transition marked a shift in the soul of Catholic tradition. In this video, we explore the top 5 differences between Pope Francis' death and those of his predecessors, and ask, are we witnessing a new way of mourning or a subtle break from tradition? Number 5. Dying during the Easter season. Most popes in modern history have died during ordinary time, outside of major feasts. Pope Pius XII died in early October, John the 23rd in June, Paul VI in August, and John Paul II on April 2nd, just after Easter week. Pope Francis, however, passed away on Easter Monday, April 21st, 2025, placing his death squarely within the octave of Easter, the most joyful and theologically significant time in the Church calendar. This rare timing infused his death with profound theological symbolism. Easter is about resurrection, not loss. Dying during this season blurred the line between mourning and mystery and invited the faithful to reflect on death as part of the Paschal journey. No recent pope had their death so closely tied to the resurrection narrative. This moment transformed a personal departure into a liturgical echo. Easter Monday, liturgically speaking, continues the celebration of Christ's victory over death. It is a day often overlooked, yet deeply rooted in the Church's expression of hope. To die on this day is almost to offer oneself into the stream of resurrection, not merely as a figure to be mourned, but as a sign pointing beyond the grave. The news of Francis' death during this sacred octave prompted reflection not only on his legacy, but also on the mystery of death embraced within faith. Some even viewed it as a providential act, a death wrapped in liturgical light. Number 4. A simpler death, a simpler setting. Previous popes typically died within the apostolic palace, surrounded by formal attendants, doctors, and cardinals. Their final moments were managed with ceremonial decorum. Pope Francis, true to his legacy of humility, passed away quietly in the Domus Sanctae Marthae, the modest guest house he chose to live in rather than the grand papal apartments. There was no entourage of officials, no medical drama under bright lights, no chamber lined with ancient portraits. Francis's death was silent, domestic, even familial. Witnesses said the atmosphere resembled the final moments of a beloved parish priest more than a head of state. The Pope was surrounded by just a few members of his personal household, his spiritual advisor, and a crucifix he had chosen to keep by his bedside. He asked for prayers in silence. This simplicity was not accidental. It was a continuation of his papacy's core message: mercy, humility, and closeness to the people. In contrast to earlier pontiffs whose deaths were orchestrated in settings reflecting centuries of papal grandeur, Francis chose the way of Saint Joseph, quiet, hidden, but deeply holy. And in doing so, he taught one last lesson. Greatness is not measured in ceremony, but in surrender. Number 3. Final public appearance during Easter blessing. Most popes' final public moments are scattered across various events. Pope John Paul II, for example, had a long decline, with his last appearance at a hospital window. Pope Francis, however, offered his final public blessing on Easter Sunday, the day before his death. From the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica, he gave the traditional Urbi et Orbi benediction to the city and to the world. Despite visible weakness, his hand rose slowly in blessing, and his voice, faint but firm, proclaimed hope to a world still recovering from crisis and conflict. Cameras captured the moment when sunlight broke through cloudy skies, illuminating his white cassock in golden tones. Some viewers saw this as symbolic, a light of resurrection surrounding a man nearing his earthly end. This convergence, Easter Sunday, a pope's final blessing, and the foreshadowing of death, had never occurred in this way before. It created a sense of theological closure. His final public act was one of forgiveness, proclamation, and light. Many Catholics described it as a living homily, a sermon given not in words alone, but in gesture, presence, and timing. He did not fade from view. He shone once more, and then was gone. Number 2, a global live experience of his final moments. While the deaths of past popes were covered heavily by media, Pope Francis's final days were accompanied by live global anticipation, almost hour by hour. Social media, Vatican News, Catholic networks, and live streaming platforms provided real-time updates that drew millions of viewers into a kind of digital vigil. When John Paul II died in 2005, global media followed the story intensely, but mostly through traditional outlets. Francis' death unfolded in a different world, one defined by immediacy, interactivity, and emotional resonance through screens. Videos of faithful praying in front of screens in Sao Paulo, Manila, Lagos, and Rome went viral. Hashtags like #Pray for Pope Francis and #Thank You Francis trended globally. The death of a pope became not just an ecclesial event, but a shared global experience in real time. This digital mourning created a profound sense of unity, especially among younger Catholics who had followed Francis on social media, listened to his podcasts, or read his online reflections. His death became a moment of encounter for a generation shaped by online spirituality. It also marked the first time in church history that the passing of a pope was accompanied by a chorus of prayers typed into comment sections, live reaction videos, and digital candles. Number 1, no tiara, no royal echoes, just the gospel. Earlier popes, even those known for humility, still retained many royal echoes. Tiaras, though not worn, still displayed. Multiple layers of vestments, elaborate funerals steeped in imperial symbolism. While Pope John Paul and John XXIII simplified many elements, Francis went further. He left explicit instructions that there be no tiara in death, no gold-trimmed catafalque, no ornate shoes, no elevated platform. He wanted a plain wooden coffin, reminiscent of Saint John Paul II's, and a liturgy that emphasized Christ more than character. His funeral mass, according to Vatican officials, will omit traditional royal flourishes and instead focus on scripture, simplicity, and mercy. This break from older visual customs is not merely aesthetic, it is deeply theological. Francis wanted his death to echo the same themes as his life, that the Pope is a servant, not a prince, that the gospel, not the garments, define the man, and that true authority lies not in gold, but in love. For a church still wrestling with questions of wealth, clericalism, and relevance, Francis' funeral is not just the end of a pontificate. It may be the beginning of a new visual language for papal leadership, one where the symbols point not to earthly power, but to the foot of the cross. The death of Pope Francis did not break Catholic tradition, but it did bend it. With simplicity, with symbolic resonance, and with timing rooted in the Church's holiest season, Francis turned his passing into one final homily, a homily not with words but with choices. As we reflect on these 5 powerful differences, the question remains, will future popes follow this path of humble exit? Or was Francis a singular figure in papal history? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.